If your dog does this, you are more important to them than you think. And I don't mean important like you're the one who fills the bowl or holds the leash. I mean important in a way that goes so deep into their instincts, so far back into their DNA, that it bypasses everything we think we know about how dogs show love. Because what I'm about to tell you isn't a cute theory someone made up on the internet. It's rooted in animal behavior, in survival, in the raw and ancient language that dogs have been speaking long before they ever shared a couch with us. So if you've ever looked at your dog and wondered, do they actually love me or am I just convenient? Stay with me, because the answer might completely change the way you see your dog forever. Most owners completely misunderstand this behavior. And that's not an insult, it's just the truth. We're human. We interpret everything through a human lens. When someone turns their back on us, we read it as rejection. We read it as coldness, disconnection, maybe even anger. So naturally, when our dogs do the same thing, we assume the same. We think they're being aloof. We think they'd rather be somewhere else. We think maybe we did something wrong, or maybe we're just not as bonded as we hoped. And so the moment passes. We scroll our phones, we go to another room, we shrug it off. But here's what's actually happening in that moment. Something so significant, so loaded with meaning, that if you understood it fully, you would never shrug it off again. Picture this. It's evening. The light in the room is low and warm. You're sitting on the couch, maybe watching something, maybe just existing, just breathing, just being. And your dog walks in. They don't come to you immediately. They circle the space a little, the way dogs do, checking the room the way they always check the room. And then they find their spot. Maybe it's the floor near your feet, maybe it's the other end of the couch, maybe it's just a few feet away, close enough that you could reach out and touch them if you wanted. And then they do it. They lie down, they curl up or stretch out, and they turn their back to you. Their spine faces you, their face points away. And within minutes, sometimes within seconds, they are completely, deeply, peacefully asleep. You're looking at the back of your dog, and everything about it, to your human brain, looks like they've tuned you out. And that's where the misunderstanding begins. Because your first instinct, if you're being honest, is probably to feel a little dismissed, a little forgotten. You might even reach out to pet them and feel mildly surprised when they don't immediately roll over and acknowledge you. You might think, they don't even know I'm here. Or worse, they know and they just don't care. We've all had that thought, that small, quiet doubt that sneaks in when we're trying to decode what our dogs are actually feeling. Are we truly connected, or are we projecting? Is this love, or is it just routine? Is my dog sleeping next to me because they want to be near me, or simply because the floor is warm and I happen to be nearby? These are the questions that dog owners ask themselves more than they'd like to admit. And the answer, the real answer, is not what most people expect. In the animal world, turning your back is not dismissal. It is not indifference. It is not a sign of disconnection. It is one of the most powerful signals in the entire animal behavioral vocabulary. And to understand why, you have to go back. Way back, before the dog beds and the kibble and the Instagram accounts, back to when dogs were not domesticated, back to when their ancestors moved in packs across open terrain, surviving on instinct, on alertness, on the constant management of threat. In that world, your back was your most vulnerable point. It was the side of your body that your own eyes could not protect. If something came at you from behind, you had almost no warning. You couldn't see it coming. You couldn't react in time. Your back was the place where danger could reach you before your instincts could save you. And so in the wild, in the language of survival, an animal never turned its back to something it didn't fully, completely, unconditionally trust. Think about what that means. Think about the weight of that. When a wild animal turns its back to another creature, it is making a decision at the deepest level of its nervous system. It is saying, I have assessed you, I have watched you, I have measured you against everything my instincts know about danger, and I have decided that you are not a threat. Not just a manageable threat, not just a low-level risk unwilling to tolerate, but no threat, zero. I trust you so completely that I am willing to remove you from my line of sight and still feel safe. That is not a small thing. That is not a casual thing. That is an act of profound biological trust. And your dog who sleeps with their back to you, is doing exactly that every single time. Your dog is saying something to you in those quiet moments. Not with words, not with barking, not with the tail wags and the jumping and the obvious displays that we're so used to recognizing. They're saying it in the oldest language they have, the language of the body, the language of positioning, the language of where they choose to place themselves when the world goes quiet and the need to perform disappears. And what they are saying is this: I feel safe with you. Not just comfortable, not just familiar, safe. The kind of safe that lets you close your eyes completely. The kind of safe that lets you stop scanning the room. The kind of safe that means your nervous system can finally, fully let go. Because that's what sleep is, for an animal. It's not just rest, it's vulnerability.
It is the moment when every defense drops, when every muscle releases, when the alert and watchful creature becomes, for a few hours, completely open and unguarded. And your dog is choosing to be that vulnerable with you at their back. Let that land for a second. Your dog, this animal with instincts that predate your relationship with them by thousands and thousands of years, looks at you in whatever way dogs look at things and decides that you are safe enough to sleep near without watching. Do you understand how rare that is in the animal world? Do you understand how much processing goes into that decision at the instinctual level? It's not something they choose consciously the way we make choices. It's something that happens in the body, in the nervous system, in the part of the brain that is purely and entirely dedicated to survival. And that part of your dog's brain has looked at you and given the all clear, not because you feed them, not because you're physically present, but because over time, through every interaction, every moment of gentleness, every instance where you could have been a source of fear and weren't, you have built something in them, something real, something that lives in their cells and their instincts and the way their body responds when you're in the room.
And there's more to it than just the turning of the back. Watch what happens before they settle. Dogs are not random in the way they position themselves. There's a whole internal calculation happening, even if it looks casual from the outside. They are reading the room. They are reading you, the tone of your breathing, the tension or softness in your body, the emotional weather of the space. Dogs are extraordinarily sensitive to all of it. They pick up on things we don't even know we're broadcasting. The tightness in our shoulders, the rhythm of our heartbeat, the chemical signals our bodies release when we're stressed or calm or sad or settled. And when your dog circles, lies down, and orients away from you, it's partly because everything they're reading from you says, this person is okay right now. This person is not a source of stress. I can stop working. I can stop watching. I can rest. Which means your dog's ability to sleep peacefully in your presence is also a reflection of you, of the energy you bring into the space, of the relationship you've built, of the fact that you are, to this animal, a source of regulation and calm. You are not just a person they live with, you are part of their sense of safety in the world. That is a profound thing to sit with, that your dog's nervous system has wired itself, at least in part, around your presence. That when you're near, something in them can relax that cannot relax anywhere else in quite the same way. You are their safe place, and the back turned toward you while they sleep is the proof. Now, think about the dogs that can't do this, the ones that sleep with one eye always partially open, the ones that startle easily, that never seem to fully settle, that position themselves where they can always see every exit. Those are the dogs whose nervous systems haven't found their safe place yet, whose history, whether it's trauma, neglect, inconsistency, or simply not enough time, hasn't yet given them a person or a place where the deep release feels possible. And when you compare that to your dog, the one who walks into the room and folds themselves into sleep with their back against the world, you start to understand what you've given them. Not just shelter, not just food, safety, real embodied biological safety. That is not nothing. That is everything. And it goes both ways, doesn't it? Because the dogs that give us this, the ones that trust us this completely, they change us too. There is something deeply settling about having an animal trust you that way. Something that bypasses our own defenses and reaches into the part of us that just wants to be safe and known and not a threat to the things we love. When your dog sleeps with their back to you, you are in the presence of pure trust. No agenda, no performance, no holding back. Just a creature that has decided in the most fundamental way it knows how that you are good, that you are safe, that you are worth giving their vulnerability to. And if you let yourself feel that, really feel it instead of scrolling past it, it's one of the most moving things you can experience with an animal. So the next time it happens, don't look at your dog's back and feel overlooked. Don't let that old human interpretation creep in, the one that says turning away means turning off. Instead, sit with what's actually happening. Your dog chose this spot. Your dog chose this position. Your dog chose to close their eyes with you behind them because every instinct they had said it was safe to do so. And those instincts don't lie. They don't flatter. They don't people please. They just tell the truth about what is and isn't a threat. And you, in that moment, are the opposite of a threat. You are the reason they can rest. That's not distance. That is the furthest thing from distance. That is your dog placing themselves inside the circle of your safety and saying without a single word, without a single bark, without a single dramatic gesture, I am yours. I trust you. I am home. And home, for a dog, is not four walls and a roof. Home is the place where the back can face the dark and the body can finally, completely let go. You are that place. You built that. Every gentle word, every patient moment, every time you showed up without causing harm, it all became this, a dog sleeping peacefully with their back to you. Which is not indifference, which is not coincidence.
which is in the oldest and most honest language in the world, love. Follow Canine Truth for more, and start seeing your dog the way they actually see you.